visionary, an entrepreneur, a business owner. You want to make money from your passion and create the freedom that you've dreamed of. But it's slow. The income is slow, the impact is slow, and the freedom is slow. And here's the kicker. You've actually never been busier. You're working longer than ever, burning through daylight, and your family have forgotten who you are. You're tired and frustrated and you can't even sleep well at night. The business just feels so heavy, and all you ever wanted to do was just make the money you want to make doing the things that you want to do. And that's where I come in. Hi, if we haven't met yet, my name is Dr. Storme, and I'm the host of the Business Acceleration Podcast, where we shift your business from heavy to light, time poor to time abundant, and from income lack to income growth. We're going to achieve it together with my 20 years experience as a psychologist, helping people just like you to break through their barriers. And we're going to throw in a little of the woo as well. So thank you so much for pushing play today. Let's begin. Good morning, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Business Acceleration Podcast. It's so wonderful to have your company. If we haven't met yet, g'day, my name is Dr. Storme. I'm a business coach and alignment strategist, and I live in Melbourne, Australia. And today, what I wanted to do was share with you an experience that I had recently and just see if you can relate to it. So, at the moment, many of you will be aware that I'm on the very tail end of a launch, actually. Today is the last day. Tonight, my launch finishes at midnight, but it's been going on for 1 week. And I've tried my very, very best to be very, very disciplined in terms of my focus. So I have tried to do all that I can to keep focused on launching this coaching program. So I've been trying to deliver content that speaks to that. I've been trying to have conversations that help people, and I've been doing all of those things, that you normally do when you're in a launch. And of course, all the extra things like tracking this and that and making posts, and it's all been going really, really well. However, what happened was today's Tuesday. On the weekend, I was working on Saturday and then I had Sunday off, and I was feeling, really tired, and I just wanted to Netflix and chill. So I'm at home, I've made some coffee, I've made some nice lunch, and I'm sitting down and I'm watching a film on Netflix that was Between Two Ferns with Zach Galifianakis. It was so funny. I don't know if you've seen it, but oh my gosh. Anyway, so watching this film, and as I'm watching it, what happened was I got this idea, and I have no idea where it came from, but I just suddenly felt this burst of energy, and it felt like so urgent to me that I needed to quickly race and try and find a notepad and a pen. So I didn't even stop Netflix. I didn't even pause it. That's how urgent it was. I just quickly got up off my chair and I ran into the kitchen, and I was just rummaging for a piece of scrap paper. I grabbed a pen, and then I quickly just started writing. And it was the strangest feeling, because as I was writing, everything was just kind of coming through me. It was all just very, very natural and very, very easy. And I remember a moment where I was feeling quite disconnected from my hand. I was just looking at my hand and it kept writing. And I remember thinking to myself, wow, how's this even happening? And at the end of it, what I'd written down was I'd created this template or this tool that people could use for their social media. And I loved it, and I was so excited, and I just knew that this was needed, and I knew that this could help my ideal clients. And I started jumping around the room, and then I put on music and I was dancing to the music, and I just felt so exhilarated by this whole experience. So when I calmed down, I thought, oh, okay, well, that's over now. I should go and sit back down. So I went back and sat down in front of Netflix again and tried to pick up, what I'd been missing out on over the last, I don't know how long it was actually, maybe about 15 or 20 minutes. And anyway, as I'm sitting there watching TV, I think to myself, oh, you should stop thinking about this idea that you just had and you should be focusing on your launch. And then I thought to myself, oh, she's right. You do need to be focusing on your launch. Put this aside. And so I really tried to put it aside. And of course, the more you try and avoid something, the more it creeps in. You know, it's like when you go on a diet, all of a sudden I can't eat chocolate. Well, I don't normally eat chocolate, but when I go on a diet, suddenly it's like I have to have it. So, you know, what you resist persists. And I found myself being very torn about, you know, acting on this inspiration and trying to stay true to my task at hand, which is the launch. Anyway, I still try and put it all out of my mind, but I can't stop thinking. And I'm getting, you know how when you have an idea that's inspired, it just keeps unfolding. So throughout the rest of the day, there's more and more things that I'm adding on to this template. There's more and more things that I'm working through with it. There's more changes I'm making. And I go to bed and I'm still so proud of it. And I'm so happy about it. And I'm so excited about it that I'm thinking about it as I go to sleep. And then when I wake up in the morning, I'm smiling because it's the first thing I start thinking about again. And I'm driving to work on Monday, so yesterday, and I'm thinking to myself, hey, stop thinking about this. Put it out of your mind. You've only got 2 days left of your launch. And anyway, I got into work and I couldn't let it go. I was like a dog with a bone. And part of me saying, stop doing this, you're going to sabotage your launch. And the other part of me said, but you've got to get this done. So then what I did was I just delegated it. I sent an outline and a draft to my VA, and I just said to her, can you please take this off my plate? I need you to make it look pretty. Here are some ideas of styles that I really like. And just that act of giving it to her allowed me then to sort of exhale a little bit and get focused back onto the business. And guess what happened then? I started contacting people that had attended my webinar because I wanted some feedback from them about what they thought of it. I wanted to know if they liked it, if they didn't like it, what they felt was omitted, what I should include next time. So I was just sending out those sorts of emails. And anyway, one of the attendees wrote back straight away and said that she loved it, that she hadn't considered. So my webinar was about how you can get your diary to have a consistent flow of referrals, to have a consistent stream of bookings. And if you're not in a sort of a business where you're providing one-to-one appointments or coaching or things like that, maybe you're having online courses, well, you use the same strategies to help fill your courses, so to help you get enrolments. So it was my webinar. And anyway, this lady replied to my email yesterday and she said she found it so helpful understanding the role of alignment. She said that she'd been coached before and she tried to implement, you know, tips and tricks in inverted commas for how to get people signing up with her, and it wasn't working. And she understood as a result of watching the webinar that there was a piece to the puzzle that was missing, and it was really around that inner work, which is what I'm all about. So, of course, this was music to my ears, made me feel so happy. I wrote back to her and I said, I'm so pleased that you found it useful and helpful. You know, you've got all of your bonuses there. Work through those, start implementing things, and, you know, reach out again in maybe 10 to 12 weeks and let me know how you went, because I want to see the numbers. And then she wrote back and she said, well, actually, are you taking on any one-to-one clients at the moment, or are the spaces full? And I said, no, you can absolutely go and put in an application. So I sent her the link and straight away she applied. And anyway, now she's all signed up. So when I got out of my own way, you know, things worked out, which was fantastic. But the reason that I'm sharing this with you is because when I'm working with people, I've noticed that they can tend to fall into the trap of this thing called bright, shiny object syndrome. And it's where they get very sidetracked, very distracted in their business. And I think most of us, if we're honest, have been in this place before, where we have been very, very busy. We've had a to-do list and we've ticked everything off the to-do list, but we're still not getting the dollars in the bank. And it leaves us feeling a bit, you know, confused and disheartened and tired, and we feel, well, we just need to do more things and then the money will come, and then it doesn't. And so we say, well, I need to add even more things to my to-do list and the money doesn't come. So that's the first thing. The second thing is inspired action. Now, I'm all about alignment. And alignment really means taking action that feels right for you in the moment, that's matching up with your purpose, that's matching up with your vision for your business in terms of who you want to help and how you want to help them, and that's matching up with that very unique message that only you can share with the rest of the world. So I try and help people learn how to recognize intuition, and I teach people to practice recognizing intuition, and that's okay. It's, when you learn how to do that and you become accustomed to picking up on nudges from the universe, that's okay, because that's what you want. When you get those, some people call them downloads, but when you get those downloads, or when you get that hit of inspiration from the universe, that's great. That's just for you. That's not for anybody else in the whole entire world. That's just for you. And you absolutely have to act on that. And even if it's in the middle of the launch, which was just unfortunate for me, but even if it's in the middle of a launch, you still must act on it. And I'll tell you why. It's because those bolts of inspiration, they're going to happen from time to time. And if you ignore them, what will happen is they will occur less frequently. Because what's happening is energetically you're telling the universe you don't need them, you don't want them, you're not interested, etc., etc. So the universe will stop delivering them for you. And what that means psychologically, I guess if I put my psychologist hat on, is what you focus on grows. So if you're not focusing on tuning into your intuition, inspired action and things like that, then it's going to happen less and less. All right. Same idea, different fields of study. So what happens, though, is that some business owners find it very, very difficult to separate or distinguish between what is a distraction and what is inspiration. So here's a way that I distinguish them. I ask myself, can I let this go? So with my idea that I had on Sunday, could I let it go? No, I tried to. I honestly tried to. After I wrote down my first draft and I left everything on the kitchen table and I went back into the lounge room and I was sitting down, I was so restless. I couldn't even concentrate on the rest of the film fully because I wanted to get back up and keep writing. And so guess what? I did. I actually brought the paper and the pen into the lounge room and tried to do the two things at once. So that's when it's inspired, okay? Another question you could ask to find out whether or not you're involved in distraction or inspiration is to ask yourself this: what am I avoiding? Or am I avoiding something right now? And if so, what is it? So distraction can kind of be a bit like procrastination sometimes, but distraction is really happening when I think you know where you are, you know where you need to be, but you're not sure how to get there. And so what happens is, because you don't know how to get from point A to point B, that feels very uncomfortable because there's a dissonance that's experienced now. You're acutely aware that you don't know how to get there, but you're also acutely aware that you need to. And so what happens is, instead of working on that thing, you start filling your space and filling your time with busy work. And that is a false economy, really, because on some level your subconscious mind is saying, well, if I keep myself really busy, then I'm going to be able to get to point B. And it never works. It's a fallacy. It never ever works. So if it's a distraction, I would ask yourself, why is this distraction here, and how is this distraction serving me now? How is it getting me off the hook for something? What is it allowing me to avoid right now? And you already know what that is. And then you want to say, well, okay, what do I need to do? And honestly, it's usually something very, very manageable that we just make out to be very, very difficult for whatever reason. I think we put an emotional charge onto things sometimes. But if it's just a matter of you don't know how to get there, well, the answer is, how can I find out how to get there? Yep. So asking yourself better questions will naturally elicit better answers. So how can I get myself from here to there in the simplest, most straightforward way for the good of myself, my business, and everything else. So when you ask yourself those questions, you already will know the answer. Listen to that answer, and then take action based from that viewpoint, or based from that standpoint. So be really, really discerning. So in summary, it's absolutely okay to be focused on something and experience the odd bolt of inspired action. That's fine. Distraction, however, not good, because that's stopping you from doing things that are going to be able to produce income for your business. And without the income, you don't have a business. So have a look at what is the distraction for, what purpose is it serving, how's it helping you avoid something, why is it here, and what can you do about it, and how can you move your business from here to there in the most simplest way. Get that information and then act on that. And then guess what? The money will start coming. And that's super important, yeah? Because it's the money that's going to allow you to reach more people by doing things like having a Facebook ad, or by doing things like investing in software like Kajabi to run your course, or it's going to allow you to go on a trip and speak in another country, or it's going to allow you to hire a team, perhaps of more coaches or of more contractors, or whatever it is. Money is not bad. Money is a tool that you use to reach more people, okay? So thank you very, very much for listening to this episode. If you missed the webinar, the replay is still up until 11:59 p.m. tonight, the 7th or the 8th of October. 7th of October, Australian Eastern Standard Time, and I'll put the link in the show notes for you. It goes for about 90 minutes, and in it, I teach you 7 steps that you can take to start seeing results in your diary within as little as 3 or 4 weeks. These are tools and strategies that I have used myself and continue to use today, and that I teach to my contractors. And they're very, very powerful, and they might be a little bit different to some other training that you've done with other coaches, and that's okay. We need to do things differently now, and it's okay to do things differently because we want to get different results. The results that you have now might not be the ones that you're really wanting. So we have to make a change, and it's okay to try new things, and it's okay to have an open mind, and it's okay to be like Cinderella and try on lots of different shoes until you find the one that fits. This webinar is just another shoe for you to try on, and I'm confident that it's going to fit. But be prepared for it to be a little bit different to other types of training that you've had. Of course, if there's anything that you'd like me to speak about or present on or discuss on a podcast, please send me an email. I'm happy to do that for you. And yeah, thank you so much for your company today. If you like this, please share it with somebody or leave me a comment, and have a beautiful, beautiful day, everybody. Bye. Thank you so much for listening today. I really hope that you enjoyed it and got a lot of value from it. Help me help others by sharing this podcast. And if you feel called to leave a review on Apple Podcasts, remember to let me know so that I can send you a very special thank you gift. Now go and build your dream business, and I will see you next time. Bye.